I want to thank Councilor Dominguez for that very kind introduction. And I guess I'd say as the only member of the U.S. Senate who was an AmeriCorps member, if I don't stick up for AmeriCorps and put them back to work in our communities, who will? And I think that's been a great program to sort of build this bridge between policy at many different levels. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I'm supporting in Washington, but what we've tried to do is to support policies that are rooted in the values that come out of these community conversations, and to do things that allow us to have that cooperation at so many levels with people working together at a time when really we have to do that to bring the kind of resources that our constituents and our neighbors need. It is really great to be here. I mean, this is the second one of these, and so much has already happened. And I certainly want to recognize Santa Fe Community College President Randy Grissom and Councilor Chris Rivera for all of their help, as well as Councilor Dominguez and organizations that have supported this effort. The United Church of Santa Fe and First Presbyterian, La Familia Medical Clinic, the Santa Fe Community Foundation, and many others who've supported this community effort. And finally, before I talk a little bit about policy, I would be very remiss if I did not recognize Andrew Black. He is such a, one, I'm lucky to have him on my staff, and two, he is such a passionate believer in the power of community, and specifically in the power of this community. And it's been a lot of fun to turn him loose on this, because I get to hear from him on a regular basis about all the things that you all are doing to make the south side of Santa Fe a more livable space. So thank you, Andrew. He's blushing if you all want to look over here right now. So. And once again, I'm blown away by how much has already been accomplished. I'm especially proud to have been a very small part of it. And I think that the Quality of Life Initiative has been a very positive force in moving this community in the continual direction of prosperity and success through community engagement and through civic engagement at the local level. And each time I come back to Santa Fe, I get a glimpse at the positive things that are happening as a result. Earlier this year, I got a chance to meet with some of the leaders of this initiative at the La Familia Medical Center, where I heard about the REACH program and what it was doing to help get service providers and community leaders to focus on the specific challenges in this community. I joined members of the Quality of Life Initiative for the grand opening of that community-based VA clinic, and I can tell you that there's not a day that I've been U.S. Senator where I did something more, where I was more proud than that, to see this place made real that is giving the kind of services that our veterans earned access to that in their own community, having seen what they had to struggle through to get adequate access at the former clinic. It was really a good day. And I'm really impressed with the work that's being done around food access. I'm very excited about the weekly Southside Farmers Market. And I am personally, as somebody who has lived through the healthcare wars now, I am so excited about efforts to provide families with the choices that they want so that they can improve the health of our families, and at the same time bring neighborhoods together and support local growers and support our agricultural traditions. Andrew mentioned the Southside Branch Library being open from 1 to 5 on Sundays. I can tell you, when I was growing up, they didn't call us latchkey kids. We just were. Our parents worked, and they worked overtime, and they worked late, and I couldn't tally the hours that I spent after school in the library, during the summer in the library, in the weekends when it was open in the library. And it's such an important part and opportunity for our kids to be able to access that on the weekends. I don't think we can underestimate how important it is. So there have been a lot of successes in the last year, but I don't need to tell any of you that there are an enormous number of challenges still ahead of us. We know that far too many families are struggling here in New Mexico and across this country. Too many kids are not getting the education that they deserve. Too many members of our community, our seniors and our veterans, are not getting the services that they've earned and that they deserve. And while we've seen an economy that has begun to recover, average hardworking people have not felt that recovery because their incomes haven't kept up with the kind of increases in prices that we see, whether it's in health care or in college tuition or just at the local grocery store or the gas pump. And so fighting for these things is really helpful for me to be able to crystallize how can we do things that aren't just in a vacuum in Washington, but support the work that's being done here so that the sum is greater than the parts of a whole. And as you know, the title of this symposium is Education, Engagement, Empowerment, Equity, shedding light on the challenges and the opportunities faced by our community in Santa Fe's South Side. And, you know, some have frankly described this as a tale of two cities. And with Santa Fe's majestic mountains and the arts community and the culture, Santa Fe is considered a premier destination for visitors from all over the world. So it is a deep frustration that 24% of children in Santa Fe County are living in poverty, and that 46% of fourth graders in Santa Fe are proficient in reading, only 46%, 28% in math, and 40% of parents lack secure employment. And those things are obviously connected. Not to mention the fact that New Mexico ranks 50th in child well-being, 50th. And I think we can all agree that those statistics are absolutely unacceptable. And it's going to take effort at every level to turn that around. Certainly, I would love to see a collective vision that spurs private sector job growth in things like technology and manufacturing in our state, and that more effectively does take advantage of the base jobs that we have in culture and the arts and the outdoors and our laboratories and education. But if we really want to create a climate in New Mexico that attracts new businesses, grows businesses from the inside, attracts innovators and investors and entrepreneurs, then we need to better equip our students to compete for the jobs of the future, and especially in the areas of math and science. You know, one of the reasons why I am the co-sponsor of a bill to expand engagement in after-school programs focused on science, technology, engineering, and math is because we know it's what's needed, we know it works, and we've seen projects like Project Guts right here in Santa Fe give those opportunities and the excitement that grows from middle schoolers when they have those opportunities. Project Guts is a summer and after-school STEM program. It's hosted by Santa Fe Institute, and they get to use computer simulations to solve real-world problems. And I can tell you, as somebody who got my undergraduate in engineering, I don't get a lot of chances to use that anymore, but you know, one of the formative things I did when I was in college was we built a carbon fiber solar car that we raced across the United States. And I've seen elementary and middle school programs that do those same kinds of things at a smaller scale, and they get kids invested and realizing that they have real talent in science and in engineering and in math, and that they can have a future in those things. One of the other things I was very invested in this year that didn't get a lot of press coverage, probably because we were successful and because we built such a bipartisan coalition, was the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. You know, something that was deeply bipartisan. It was signed by the president in July, and it really helped bring many of the federal workforce development programs from the past into the future, ensuring that our students are really receiving a world-class, affordable education at every age. It's no secret, too, that I think it's time to get very serious about using our state's permanent fund to invest in our kids, doing it in a sustainable way, but having been exposed to people all across this country who are seeking places to grow their businesses and to invest in manufacturing and to do new things. The rest of the country, the rest of the world is not going to invest in us until we're investing in ourselves. And no one deserves that more than our own kids, and particularly in early childhood education. And it is not unrelated to the fact that we also need to be investing in workforce training. And the work that we have done, the things that you're doing right here with the Promotoras program at Santa Fe Community College to invest in workforce training, those things build resilience and economic capacity in our entire economy. And frankly, they make it easier for me to talk to business from other parts of the country and say, come to New Mexico, invest in New Mexico. We'll build the workforce for you. As we come together to improve our communities, I think the last thing I want to share with you is that I'm so pleased to see you focusing on young people. That should be a focus. They are our future. And if we don't empower them and make them realize very early on that change is there for them to make if they seize the opportunity, then shame on us, because they are the capacity that we'll all be relying on in a few years to pick up the mantle and to make this community even better. I've had frankly a tough 2 years in Washington because, like a lot of you, I am fed up with the dysfunction. And I'm fed up individually, not with people who are on the other side of the aisle, but people who profit from dysfunction and people who profit politically from making sure that nothing happens. But it has always been the actions of those unwilling to accept the status quo, unwilling to accept inaction, people who have fought for equality and fought for justice and education and a better future for the next generation that have made all the difference in this country. They're the folks who built the middle class in this country. And the higher calling of service to one another, it involves a lot of uncertainty. It involves a lot of individual and personal risk. But I think there is deliverance in both the struggle and the accomplishment. And that's why this symposium is so important. It gives our community a chance to come together and figure out how we can make meaningful changes. Not ask somebody else to do that, but to do it together. And to paraphrase Councilor Dominguez, the way I remember him saying it before was it takes no effort to create no change, but it takes some effort to create some change. And all of us can create some change. And that's what this weekend's all about. So thank you for being a part of it.